Hello, everybody. Sorry, we're just a couple minutes late. We are excited to be here. This is Sean. I know some of you know him. Some of you are like, who are you sitting with? I assume it's your husband. Oh, sorry. Okay. We just got a text from our daughter. We have to go pick her up early. Okay. So we wanted to hop on here live and talk for the next 30 minutes about parenting. And then while we talk about parenting, if you've read our emails, you know we have a really special flash sale going on for our parenting course today only in honor of Valentine's Day. But our 16-year-old son came up with this idea. He thought it would just be super fun. He was really excited to do this. For the next 30 minutes only, while we're live, you can save an additional 10% off the sale price of our course. So today only, it's $100 off. Plus, it's buy one, get one free, which we've never done before. But we thought in honor of Valentine's Day, wouldn't it be awesome to buy a course and bless a friend with a parenting course, with a family member, with, a single mom that you're helping out right now, anything, anyone that you think could benefit from this or would be a blessing to them, or just grab a friend and both of you go in on the price of one course and you each get a course. I don't care how you do it. We just would love to bless you guys and help you save some money and get the parenting course. But right now it's an additional 10% off with the code Valentine. So you can hop over and check it out, but that's only available for 30 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it's successful, so our 16-year-old is encouraged in his little business plan he came up with.
Yeah, so basically, if, like Caroline said, if you buy a course, if you enroll in the Well-Ordered Parent today, it's $100 less than what it normally is. $297, today it's $197. We're also doing the buy one, get one free in honor of Valentine's Day. So if you know somebody, a family or a friend that you think that could really benefit from this, you can gift them a free enrollment. And if you want to go in with them and split that cost, I think that brings the cost of your enrollment down to like $89 or something like that.
Right now.
Yeah, for right now.
For right now.
So yeah, with the 10% off for the next 30 minutes, it's just even lower. So normally it retails for $297.
Yeah.
We're bringing it all the way down. If you were able to work this out with the 10%, the buy one get one free, it's $89 for your enrollment. So
Yeah.
It has never been this low. We're not entirely sure it's ever going to be this low again. It's just kind of a crazy idea that we came up with. Our 16-year-old had a lot of input on this. He just was really excited about it. So that's the offer that we're extending to you for the next 30 minutes. But yeah, we're here to talk a little bit about parenting. We haven't had much of an opportunity to go into the background behind why we started the Well-Ordered Parent. We've been traveling to conventions for years now and talking about parenting. And we've blogged about parenting, and we sell a child training course called Character Badges. Some of you know about that. And we've been selling that for years and years. But we finally decided that, it was time for us to kind of, unify all of the things that we talk about at conventions. And we talk about a whole host of topics related to parenting. We feel very passionately about this because not only are we parents of 7 children, but we look back at who we were, 16 some odd years ago, and who we are today, and the journey that we've been on to get to where we are today. And not only that, we made mistakes back when we were newly married, even just gearing up to be parents. And then when we had our firstborn, we thought we had this parenting thing down pat. There was just nothing to it. And we had all our ducks in a row, and we found out real quick that we were wrong. And we also see a lot of parents making the same mistakes that we made. And we see how it affects their relationships with their children. We know that it affected our relationship with our children. And we regret that. We wish we could go back and redo those things. But as you know, some of you are new parents and you're kind of learning on the fly. This is a seat of your pants kind of a thing. And that's the way it was with us too. And we thought we had gotten some good counsel from various books, seminars, tapes, back when those were a thing. You'd listen to a tape. And, we applied those things in our home. and it just fell flat on its face. But then we doubled down and tried to just, like, maybe we're doing it wrong, or maybe we're not being consistent with it, and we were even more stringent in the way in which we applied those principles, and the results were twice as bad. So I think the main thrust behind the well-ordered parent is that we see that there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, because your children are all kinds of different sizes. Now, we really do believe, I think Caroline wants to jump in here, we really do believe that there are general principles that apply across the board. But when you get down to the nuts and the bolts of how you apply those general principles, that can differ from child to child, from family to family. And the last thing that we want to do is spell everything out for every family and say, if you follow this XYZ formula, you're going to get this result. And we don't believe that. So what were you going to say?
Well, and I think we feel so passionately about that because that's kind of the lie that we fell into when we were young parents. And, you know, on my Instagram account today, parents are leaving comments on the latest blog post that I shared about and saying, you're not alone. We made a lot of mistakes when we were first-time parents, and we've had to go back and apologize. So I know that, you know, it happens. It's not just us. But the reason we're so passionate about coming out with this is because I still see so many of those principles that we fell into and we tried to parent our oldest with, thinking if we follow this, this is going to be the end result. It's going to be this amazing model child. I still see those being pushed in the homeschool movement or in the Christian parenting movement a lot. In all of the Facebook groups I'm in, I see it come out, and it worries me because I know the damage that it did with our relationship with our oldest son, and how it just did not help us be parents. And I also know the time that when we got away from those practices, we were kind of floundering. We were like, how are we supposed to parent? You know, we believe this certain model, and now what are we supposed to do? And there's all, you know, the different parenting experts that you could follow. You could read the Love and Logic, you could do the Ezzos, you could, you know, all this different stuff that you think, what am I supposed to do? But I don't think that we're here to say, buy the course, this is going to be the one end all, this is going to tell you the magic formula.
No, it's not a magic formula kind of a thing. But it really is something that if you apply the principles that are found in there, and if you're consistent with it,
right,
you walk into this program with open eyes, it could radically change your home. And I say that because where we were and where we are today is radically different.
Yes.
And it's really all based on these principles that we had to learn the hard way. I mean, we went to the school of hard knocks to learn these things, and it was one eye-opening moment after the next. And so, you know, when we finally came to terms with this stuff, it was hard. You know, it was hard to admit that we'd been heading down the wrong path and that we'd been listening to the wrong advice. And to also realize that, you know, the best partner that you have in this journey is your Heavenly Father, and that He loves your children as much, even more than you do. He's more concerned about how they turn out than you are, and He's with them with every moment of every day. He knows them better than you know them, and so He's the one that we really ought to seek to partner with. And that for that entire time, He was really trying to speak to us. He was really trying to get into our hearts, so that we could turn this thing around. So that was hard. It was hard because there was a period of time where we felt like we were the end all be all, that we were all sufficient. You know, that I'm the dad and she's the mom, and what we say goes, and all these things. And it was just very there was no peace in that model. And so when we finally yielded ourselves, you know, so many parenting methods and training models today are all about getting your child to yield to you. Like, you've got to get them to bend and to yield and to submit themselves to you.
On every single thing, every time.
Yeah, like that's the most important thing, and it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you are working with God to help them to submit to Him. That's the most important thing. And I think we're all familiar with, the commandment to honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land. That's the one commandment that your children need to be concerned with when they are in your household. That's the one commandment that they need to keep. And guess what? If they are on the fast track to honoring God in everything that they do, they're not going to have any problem keeping that commandment. And yet we generally get the cart before the horse. We think the way in which they're going to honor God is through honoring us first. And it's a very subtle shift, and yet it's a radical change in your home when you begin to put your Heavenly Father before yourself and not think that you know everything, or that you when you say jump and they've got to say how high and all of this stuff. We need refinement just as much as they do. I'm really convinced of that. Even though we're older and we're smarter and we have more experience and all of this, we need refinement just as much as they do. So they're going through this process. We're going through it with them. Yes, we are to be an authority in their lives, but we need to earn that designation. We need to be worthy of the privilege of being an authority in your child's life. And that's not always easy, because like I think Caroline was saying, some parents, having to go back and say, I'm sorry, we made mistakes. Your children are going to wake up to that one day, maybe sooner than what you want them to, and when they realize that you're not perfect. You're not always perfect all of the time. So, but we try.
Okay. I don't know if people are leaving comments. I can't tell. So
yeah, feel free to leave any comments that you want, or ask any questions that you want.
Right.
We're just on here. We're on here for the next 30 minutes, and we're just trying to give you a little backdrop, or our motivation for making this course what it is. We poured our heart and soul into this because basically it's what we would have loved for somebody to have said to us
instead of what we were listening to.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give you an example of how we parented our oldest child versus how we're parenting our sixth child, not really our seventh. She's 17 months, and the personalities of our oldest and our sixth are the most similar. So this is gonna work the best. With our oldest, we remember, it's a story we've never forgotten. We lived with my parents for just a couple of months while we were getting his cabinet shop business off the ground, and we'll never forget being in that hallway, and we wanted our son to come to us. We read, you need to train your child to come when you call them, which is good. I'm not against training them at all. I mean, that's a very worthwhile thing to train them in. But he was very young.
Mm-hmm. He was walking.
He was walking, but just barely.
He hadn't been walking
he
very
wasn't
long.
2. He was not 2 yet. I know that. And so we put him at the end of that hallway, and we went to the other end, and basically we were training. What age is this applicable for? I have a 4. Yeah, it's the perfect age for a 4-year-old. The course, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the earlier the better.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge portion in there about laying groundwork and laying foundations. Those foundations are crucial, for your children as they continue to grow and to mature. But we say it's good for newly born to on past 16-year-olds, because that's the age range of our children. And so, do we think it's applicable to children older than that? Yes, but we're not really in the business of giving advice for parents who have children that are older than our children.
Right.
So
we've stayed really firm and not going there because we want to.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah. Okay, so we put our son at the end of the hallway. We were at the other end, and we would get all excited and say, "You need to come, Mosiah. Come to Mom and Papa. Come to Mom and Papa." And he would just stand there and stare at us. And we did this, and we did this, and then we would take him and we'd lead him by the hand, and we'd walk him to us, and we'd be like, "This is how you come." We'd show him over and over again, and then we'd put him back at the end of the hallway, and we would do it. And this is all in one session. And he would not come. He would not come. He just stood there with this blank look on his face and stared at us.
No, it got worse than that. He would melt down.
Yeah, he would melt down.
He'd break down into a bundle of tears.
Yeah. So then we go to, well, we're going to correct you. You're not obeying. We're going to correct you, and then we're going to correct you, and we're going to correct you. And it went on for an hour. It was a long
sometimes
time.
we would prolong it because the reason why that is because, number one, we loved him, and we believed the counsel that we were receiving. So I like to call them the parenting doctors. So the experts that we were taking counsel from at that point in time, it's like they were presiding over the life of our child, and they were telling us, you've got a bad prognosis with your child because he's a willful, stubborn, wicked person inside, inherently wicked. And so he is pre-programmed to want to thwart your authority and to disobey you. And what you've got to do is you've got to work that out of him, and the sooner the better. You got to work that out of him. So that's why we started so young, because we thought our child is terminally ill, in a spiritual sense. And if we don't get this right at this early age, when he's a teenager, he's going to be running off with some girl, and doing who knows what, and leaving our home and getting on drugs. And, it was just the fear that we had in those early stages of what, if we didn't get this right, this is a simple exercise. This is what we're going to start with. We're going to teach him to come. You must come. And then he didn't come, and then we started getting angry. Me in particular, I got angry and frustrated with him. Because not only were we afraid of what this was going to lead to in the future, but we were also in the... You need to understand that, love is not the answer to everything, because you got to make sure that it's the right kind of love. Parents of all sorts justify the way that they parent through love. They say, there are some parents who buy their children the world. They think they got to keep giving, and if they want this toy, they're going to give it to them. And they have these gigantic Christmases and gigantic birthdays, and that's and all this encouragement and uplift and all this stuff. And they think that's because I love them. But you and I know that that's not the best way to raise a child. And you've got other parents who are just so strict, like what we were describing that we were. Like, you've got to jump on every instance of disobedience and correct that now. And it was like, no, and it's correction. It's really harsh. And why did we do that? Because we love them. But both of those parents need to learn how to discipline their love. You've got to find balance in those things. And the way that you do that is that you look to your Heavenly Father, because He knows the perfect time for correction, and He knows the perfect time to show mercy. He knows when to equally weight those things. And we don't. We don't. We got stuck on a philosophy. And we used love to justify it. And it wasn't love. The way that it worked itself out, it wasn't very loving to our son.
So we like to call kind of bringing those two things together as the middle of the road parenting. And we talk about that a lot in the course, how to find the balance between being a super strict parent or a parent that just gives your child everything, because both of those are totally wrong. That's not going to bless your child. And how to pour yourself into your child in encouraging them and helping them see what you do want them to become, instead of just always being the parent saying, no, stop, you're doing wrong, which is so incredibly easy to do. It's so easy. It's just the most natural thing to feel like, well, I gotta stop. And it takes more effort to be the type of parent that you recognize the good things they're doing, like, oh, you did so good, you just helped your sister out, thank you. That was showing kindness, instead of overlooking those moments, not even stopping to recognize them, because all you're so focused on is, I know my child is strong-willed, I know this is a troubled child, this is a difficult child, and so I've got to look for every instance in this child to correct them. And so that was my thinking for the first few years with our oldest. Now fast forward, and we have our 4-year-old is more of that strong-willed, loud personality. On the flip side, she is probably one of our sweetest children.
I mean, when she's sweet, she's the sweetest.
She is incredibly sweet. And I feel like that has come out because we have not totally crushed her like we did with our oldest. And so the flip side, in ways that we parent her, and we're not perfect parents, I always give that disclaimer, like, we're not over here like we are absolutely perfect, because I definitely have days where I mess up and I'm, a normal mom who gets frazzled, but my way of parenting her is just so incredibly different. And I've learned tips and techniques that work with her, and I think would work with a lot of strong-willed children like this. And so, for example, she hates going down for bed. She hates her nap. She just cries, and just it's always been a big issue for her. She doesn't like being alone. And so something that I do sometimes that works so well, instead of the old me would have been like, you're gonna lay down and that's it, and I'm gonna spank you if you don't lay down, and that's, you listen to mama. Now things that I do is I talk to her before she lays down, and I, in a nice calm voice and excited, I'm like, Sophia, if you lay down without throwing a fit and you don't scream at all, when you wake up, mama's gonna read you a book, or mama's gonna play a little game with you, or mama's gonna let you play 5 minutes on reading eggs, whatever it is. I mean, change things up, don't always make it the same. And 9 times out of 10 it works. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it works a lot. And some might call that bribery. I don't. I'm like, this is what happens. But then I'm like, but if you go to bed and scream when you wake up, you don't get that. I'm not going to reward her, but I'm going to encourage her in that good behavior of laying down without screaming. And so she'll calmly go in, she'll lay down, and she'll wake up, and then she gets her, whatever. We read the story, she gets her reading eggs time, whatever it is. And it's just an incredibly different way to parent. And it makes you as a mom feel a lot less guilty, because I got so tired of going to bed every night when I had, probably our oldest was 8 and we had 4 children at the time, and I would just go to bed and fall in bed exhausted and cry and feel so guilty over how I had parented that day. I just felt so lost.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Character Badges came about, because I kept coming to Sean, and Sean is like the creative one. It was funny, at a convention, somebody came up to me and she's like, look at this, moms are just so creative and coming up with these charts. And I said, well, my husband actually came up with it. She's like, no. She's like, you told him what to do. I said, no, my husband came up with this. Sean is the creative one in our family. And so I would come to him and he would hear me say these things over and over again. And I was like, I need a way to show them what I want them to do. And so that's how Character Badges was born, out of that desperate need in our own family to show our children what we did want them to do.
Yeah. And we talk about all of these things in the course. There's so many things that we talk about. It's really a 4-step process. And the first step of the process is, my inspiration for where it came from was the experience of going to a conference or a convention. And many of you have probably had the experience of going to something like that. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a time for you to be able to, not everybody, I mean, we meet a lot of families at conventions who they got all 8 of their children there, right? That's
amazing.
Fine. That's great. That's one side of the experience. Then there's a lot of other couples who just like, we sent our children off to my mother-in-law's so that we could just be here together and listen to the sessions and reset. And that's the first step of the course. Because if you've ever sat in a refreshing, eye-opening session, and it's just you, or it's just you and your spouse, and you're just like, they might be saying things that you already know, but just to hear it in that setting and to be taken out of your normal everyday environment, and hearing that, it's so refreshing. And every one of us need that. Parents especially need those moments in our lives when we've got to take a step back, we've got to take a deep breath, and we've got to reset. So that's the first step in the course, is that we have a series of sessions where we're helping you to do that, hopefully, just to take a step back and reset. Think through things, take a good hard look, a 30,000-foot view of where you are currently. And then after that, we're gonna help you to define some things, because once you've reset, that's the perfect time for you to take a good look at yourself specifically, and also your children. And what we're looking at are your values. Because like what Caroline was saying with Sophia, to us it's important for a number of different reasons, and we won't get into that, for her to go down for a nap. Some of those reasons are selfish and some of those are for her, right? We just need a break. But when she doesn't want to go down, we get frustrated, we can get angry, and we can be harsh with that. Now, she doesn't want to go down for a nap. The reason why is that our values are different. A child's values are different than your values. They value different things than you do. You used to value those things, but you don't anymore. So we would love to take a nap, right? We just love those. That's great. When you were a child, not so much. So is it any wonder that she's going to get upset when it's time to go down for a nap? So in that portion of the course, we're asking you to look at your child's values. Who are they? We even have a neat little exercise in there where you get to sit down and interview them, and you get to ask them all these questions about what they like and what they don't like, and what's their favorite place to eat, what's their favorite color, what's all these different things.
The printables in this course are amazing. Sean blew me away with things. He kept coming to me and being like, well, I just designed this and I created this, and I was like, are you serious? The printables are so much better than just a little printable with a box here and a box here and you fill it in. I mean, there are really good printables that come with this course.
Yeah, we tried to put a lot of thought into this because
well, we've bought courses before where you bought it and you're like, this is like a 10-page ebook and we spent $100 for this. And so we did not want to do that. We wanted to create something that was of a lot of value. Yeah,
well, we wanted every page to be valuable to you, to help you if you choose to use it. So like this interview with your child, that's just all about you coming face to face with their values. And then there's an exercise for you to get clear about your values and to list and prioritize all those things out. Because here's a dirty little secret, is that we live in a world where everything's important, right? Everything's urgent, everything must happen right now. And you've got all these people telling you, this is what's most important. No, that's what's most, no, it's the other thing over here. And it might all be, in its own respect, important. But what's most important for you is that you are able to prioritize what is truly important to your home. And that might not look the same between your home and my home. So again, generally speaking, I think we have a lot of the same values, but then how that breaks down to your home versus my home, those might be different, and that's up to you to prioritize those things. Once you prioritize those things, then we can go about the business of making a family mission, and this is huge. Mm-hmm. This is huge because so many families go through life and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know maybe they don't even give it any thought. Like, why are we here, and why are we together? Why did God give me this child, or these 2 children, or these 3 children, or these 10 children, or this husband that I have, or this wife that I have, and we're all together in the same home? Why? Mm-hmm. And we're going to help you to try to answer that question. And when you answer that question together, not just you and your spouse, but your whole family, discovering what your purpose is, that's a powerful thing. And we want you to speak it. We want you to write it down. We want you to hang it on your wall. And we want you to allow that to inform how you live your life together. So then you can start saying yes to things that help your family mission and no to things that don't. Mm-hmm. That's incredibly powerful because, again, we live in a world where the urgency is to say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. And basically, when you do that, you say yes to nothing. Mm-hmm. Right? You're about an inch deep and a mile wide, and you don't want to be like that. So that's the define portion. Then the next thing is concerning inspiration, right? So you have all these values and you have this family mission. How are you going to inspire your children to buy into that? And it's through rewards and consequences. It's about making your expectations clear, right? And how are you going to do that? And it's not, like Caroline was saying, it's not by like, this is the way it is, and this is how you're going to do it, and if you don't, or else. That's not the way you inspire your family to buy into your family mission. We go through step by step how you can do that. And if you're a parent who just finds yourself all day long just like putting out fires all the time and yelling at your children all the time and making all kinds of idle threats that you're not going to follow through on, this is the perfect session or portion of the course for you, because we know what that's like. We know exactly what that's like, and we had to cut that out of our lives. Like, we don't want to be those kinds of parents. We don't want our children to look back, 30 years later, and like, man, there was so much strife, there was so much yelling. Why? And that's the last thing we want them to remember. So this portion is all about inspiration, and then the last portion is about basically rolling with the punches and flexibility. Mm-hmm. Right? So, because here's something else that's unique, I think, about some of the things that we present is that you can have all these plans and you can have all these steps, and you can say you got to do this, and then after this you got to do that. But what are you going to do when life throws you a curveball? Which it will. It's going to happen. What are you going to do when something unexpected pops up in your life? Are you going to be flexible enough to not see your whole plan just unravel. So you've got that firm foundation of your family mission, and life is going to find a way to try to knock you off that course. But you need to be flexible enough not to lose sight of the big picture.
I'm sitting here trying not to cry because I remember when my mom was diagnosed with the lupus that went into her brain 9 years ago now. I've been so emotional lately about my mom. I don't know why. The last few months I just cry just like that. When she'd been sick for so long, and it was hard to believe like this was really possibly it. Like even when she was put on hospice, I was like, well, I mean, it's bad, and I cried, but it just didn't hit me until she was really gone, that she was gone. And I did not handle that. Now looking back, I mean, our oldest was what, 6?
Yeah, is that right?
Somewhere around there, 6 or 7. I mean, we were not that far into our homeschool journey, but that was very important to me. I was like, we've got a homeschool still, and I regret more than anything that I did not roll with the punches. I did not know to relax and to go spend more time with my mom to build those memories, and so that part of the course is so important to us because those things are going to come up. You're going to have a parent that's all of a sudden terminally ill. You're going to have the unexpected pregnancy that, sends you to the couch for 9 months because it has complications. And that doesn't mean that parenting has to stop.
Right.
It can't just stop for those critical seasons in life, but we all have those critical seasons come up. Unfortunately, because most of the time they're not pleasant things that we go through. And our children see us. My children have grown up seeing me cry over my mom for years. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, we were all at the piano singing hymns, and all of a sudden I'm hearing all my beautiful children's voices singing the hymns that I grew up singing with my mom, and I just stopped and was just crying, and they all start crying. Well, the girls all start crying with me, and Mosiah's patting my back like, it's okay, Mom. Our children have to roll with us during these things. And they have to learn real life with us, but we can't just ignore them and stop parenting during all of these critical times.
Right. So it's so that reset.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. Those 4 steps: reset, define, inspire, and adapt. Those are just 4 huge principles that we think are important for every family. We go through a cycle, and it's okay to cycle through those steps from time to time in your life, because we're not perfect. We're not perfect, and there's no perfect system. We're not setting this up as this equation that you plug yourself into, and it's going to automatically produce this kind of children. We don't believe that. We believe in you being flexible enough and discerning enough to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit in your life as to how you should parent your children, and the ways in which you can reach them and inspire them to embrace your values, what you deem the most important in your life. What are you working towards? What are you all doing? Are you just have you gotten into a rut of just providing, and every now and then maybe having a family movie night, or I don't know, every couple of years going on vacation? Is that life? Is that what your mission? I would suggest to you that you have a much greater calling, higher calling than that. And that if your family could get on the same page and see eye to eye with each other, you could do some great things, some incredible things that you wouldn't otherwise do. So you're not biding your time until your children grow up and walk out your doors or across your threshold of your door into their own lives. You're not waiting for that moment. You need to make the most of what you've got right now. Right, and I think someone was asking about a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. There's things you could be doing right now as a family, and you could be such a wonderful example and such a strength to other people, such a blessing to the world. But you've got to get clear about those things. You've got to be purposeful as in the way in which you live your lives together. So that's our passion. That's our heart. That's what we hope will come of this is just a bunch of families who get really clear about who they are, what their purpose is, loving each other, lifting each other up. That's something else we talk about in some of our sessions is loving and lifting and learning. Those three principles, those 3 steps, which are so important. And every one of your interactions with your children, it needs to check off those 3 boxes. Are you loving? Are you lifting? Are you learning? Right? And so in your interactions with them, if you're just shouting at them and you're just tearing them apart because they spilt their cup at the dinner table, is that checking off those 3 boxes? Probably not. So we got to bring balance to that love, but in the way in which we correct, yes, we do believe in correction. The way in which we reward is that a lifting process. And then the learning part is when you make a mistake and you need to reset, you need to correct, and you'll do better next time. And that's all right. That's part of parenting. So we purposely built that into the course because learning is a huge, huge part of parenting. And you don't want to go into it like we went into it thinking we had all the answers, early on. That's just the wrong way to go about it. You're going to suffer because of it, and your children are going to suffer, and that's the last thing that you want. So I think we forgot, we need to remind you all about the sale. I don't know how much long we've got on this.
We went over.
That's all right.
That's okay.
The code is actually good for an hour because
Okay.
I couldn't set it for 30 minutes. So.
Oh, okay. So you got 20 minutes left until 1 o'clock to grab the course that will be $100 off all day today. It's also buy one, get one free. There's a Google form if you want to buy it. I didn't include the Google form in this just because it was getting a little complicated. We'll reach out to you and say fill out this form with the person that you want to send it to for the second free course. And then for 20 more minutes, you can save an additional 10% off the $197 price, which the course is normally $297. Just use the code Valentine at the checkout. We thought it would just be so much fun if you bought a course today and tomorrow you surprised a friend, you surprised someone you knew that had just been talking to you about, I just don't know how to parent, I don't know what to do, I'm frustrated, and you said, hey, I just got this course and I thought I wanted to bless you with it. How about we go through it together? I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? Like right now I'm doing something with my friend who we have daughters the same ages, and we're doing some things together each week. And you come alongside with your friend, you say, let's do a parenting course together. That would be awesome. That would be so much fun. I would love to do that with my friend.
Yeah, it's so just a few details about the course. It's basically an 8-week course, but you go through at your own pace.
Right.
So we really looked at this like, should it be this many weeks, should it be that many weeks? And we kind of settled on 8. We didn't want it too short, we didn't want it too long, we didn't want it to drag on. So we settled on 8 weeks. There are 8 modules, so there's a module per week, and within those modules there are 24 sessions. And again, they cover everything.
And they're video sessions.
Yeah, they're video sessions.
Us talking to you.
And the majority of those sessions have worksheet printables for you to set out. And so you'll listen to the session, and then you'll go and use the worksheet and apply that to your home. Of course, that's all entirely optional. But we just encourage you to go through step by step, and it builds on itself as you go through the course. And at the end of 8 weeks, if you've done everything, we're just so confident it'll be such a blessing in your home. There's any number of ways that it could bless you, and we're not going to point out one single way. It could do 100 different things, and that's up for you to determine as you go through the sessions. But once you get enrolled, you have access to the entire 8 weeks.
Forever, lifetime.
Yeah, forever. You have lifetime access. And we update it from time to time. We improve things, we add things.
I'm going to add a session here soon.
Yeah, you also have access to all of that.
Yes.
So whenever you get an update, you'll be notified. But we've put so much work into this. And one other thing that we want to mention is that there's a bonus included with it. So we mentioned character badges. We mentioned some of our child training materials that we've developed in the past. So we have a PDF character training bundle that comes with this for free. It's like a $79 value. We've bundled all of the stuff that we've created together. And you'll find it in Module 5. Because that's the part of the course.
That's when you need it.
Yeah, it's the part of the course where we start talking about rewards and consequences and things. So that's a good time for you to implement that.
And this would also be awesome. Like, I think the ideal way to go through this course is to look at it as like date night with your husband once a week or a couple times a week. And date night with your husband does not have to be, going out for dinner and all that kind of stuff. For Valentine's Day, we never like to go out on Valentine's Day because it's so crazy. So I'm cooking dinner at home for Sean and I. Be creative with date night. But the best thing, you don't have babysitters to send off. We're getting up to check our food that's cooking because we don't want to burn lunch for our children. We'll feed them as soon as this is over. Anyway, that's why we're getting up. But send your children to a room. It's okay. I feel like it's okay to use a video once in a while as a babysitter. If you put them in front of it every single day, that's a little much. Just balance it. But send your children to the living room. Let them turn on a video for 30 minutes while you and your husband sit and go through this. Or you sit at the table and you fill out the worksheets together. You craft your family mission statement. Take that time. Your marriage will be better. Your family will be better if you can go through this together.
Yeah.
Because it's not, some moms just go through it on their own and then they're like, okay, I'm all inspired and this is how I'm going to parent and this is amazing. But the husband hasn't caught in the vision, so it's really ideal. And I know it's not always possible and it's okay. But the most perfect ideal situation would be, if you're married and your husband and you go through it together.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least you watch it and then you're like, can we watch this session together and this session and this session? And so you sit down and you have that date night time together.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, I mean, the sessions are anywhere from 10 to like 22 minutes long. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's a session in there that's longer than 22 minutes. So we're not talking about like an hour talk.
Right.
And again, you can go through at your own pace. So if you want to watch one, and get it done in 15 minutes or so, that's fine. Wait till the next day. Or if you want to binge watch well-ordered parent sessions, you can do that too. So,
and within each module, there's multiple sessions. So don't think
yeah.
So
there's 24 total.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying that they range in time between like 12 to 20 minutes.
Yes, the Character Badges program is bundled. Is the little Character Badges?
Yeah, so in the PDF bundle, what's included is the Character Badges, which I think is like 28 pages. Mm-hmm. And that's for ages 5 to 13. Mm-hmm. And then there's Little Character Badges, which is for ages 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. And then there's also Word Marbles, which is another product that we sell. It's just like a neat little exercise where you can take two bowls, actually a bowl and two mason jars, and you put these little labels on them. And it's a lesson about kind speech. So I think Caroline's going to go get it. We're using it with Sophia right now. So when she uses a kind word, we tell her she gets to pull a marble out of the words bowl, put it in the kind jar. If she uses a cruel speech or she starts mouthing off to her siblings.
It's our little marbles jar. Here's our little mean jar.
She got a few marbles in there.
Yeah.
And she hates to put marbles in there. So when she's being mean or something like that, or says something nasty to her siblings, she has to put a marble in the mean jar. And so there's a little gauge on there, so as it fills up, you can offer maybe a reward or a consequence or something. It's a really effective way to get them to thinking about how they're talking. So those three things are included in the course, and I think it's like, 60 pages total or something like that. What was the other thing I was going to say?
The tutorials?
Oh, the video tutorials.
Coming.
The video tutorials are coming. That's something else that's included. That's going to be an upgrade here that we need to get done. But in the video tutorials, we just show you how to set everything up.
Right.
Now, of course, we sell a physical version of all of this.
Right.
But you have to buy individual charts and things for your children. That's a great. I mean, if you want it set up now, that's the best way to do it. But the nice thing about the printable version is that you buy it once. You can print out as many copies as you want for however many children you have for the rest of their lives. So
right. So if you're the crafty type, or you just really are on a tight budget and need to save money, then the printable version is the way to go.
Yep. Got detailed instructions, full color. I can't tell you how many hours we've spent developing character badges, and we've designed it and redesigned it and redesigned it. And the reason why is because we use it in our home. So we've got to make sure if it works for us, we trust it'll work for you too. So that's the other bonus, and of course there's a private Facebook page for students of the Well Ordered Parent to come on and to talk. I think we're going to have a special guest here on our Facebook Live. This is our Sophia. We were talking about you earlier. So Sophia is just such a precious, sweet little girl. She has been a challenge, but she is
all
just
10 pounds was born.
Yeah, she's just adorable. So very, very, very sweet, and we've learned a lot by the time that we've gotten to Sophia, and we're so thankful for that.
So after all the discounts, what is the cost?
After all the discounts. So, I'll take you through it one last time here. I think we've got
10 minutes left.
10 minutes, basically 10 minutes to take advantage of this. Now, the sale that's running all day to midnight tonight it's $100 off the regular price. We got more special guests coming.
No. Carrie Ann is going to take Emily away.
The special that's running all day long till midnight tonight is that it's $100 off the regular price of $297. So the course is $197 for today only. On top of that, we're giving you a buy one get one free special. So you enroll in the well-ordered parent, and you can send a free enrollment to any person of your choice. It could be some stranger that you met in the line at Walmart. It doesn't matter. You just feel.
Yeah, there are some strangers in the line of Walmart. You would want to send a pair of dollars to.
I mean, maybe they got a screaming
Here,
child, and
send
it's
me your
just
email address real quick.
Yeah, you just send it to them. So now, if that person is a friend or a family member, and you want to go in together on this, you're splitting the cost of that $197. So that's almost $200 off the regular price, and for 10 minutes only. So that's the deal that's going all day today. But for the next 10 minutes, you can also take an additional 10% off of that with the code Valentine, all caps. So you'll go to the well-ordered parent sales page, sign up for the one-time price of $197,
And that brings it down to what?
and that brings it down to $177. I think is
Wow.
what it's $177.30
Okay, with the 10% off.
with the 10% off. And if you split that with your friend, I think it's like $89.
So you either pay $177.50 yourself and give a friend or a family member one for free, or get a friend and go in on it together.
And bring it down to $89. So it's from $297 to $89. That's I don't know. I think I want to buy it right now, but. So I hope that makes Sarah was asking about the cost. I hope we explained all that, made it clear. There's a lot of things going on here, but if you miss the 10% off in the next 10 minutes, it's
okay.
It's all right. The $197 deal is still on. The buy one get one free is still on till midnight tonight.
Yeah. So we should probably get off and let you have those 10 minutes to go hop over, check it out, and let us know if you have any more questions. We'll check back in on here in the next couple minutes and see if you have any questions, need any help.
Are the links all in this
Yes.
for everybody? Okay.
Yes.
So.
And I will go ahead, because the sale page for the sale today, it's not as detailed as our don't kick that. It's not as detailed as our regular sales page, so I wonder if I should put our regular sales page in here.
Yeah, we'll put that up too. If you want more information about the course.
Yeah. But if you watch this.
Yeah, we gave you quite a bit. But if you want to go look, I mean, there's a lot of detail on that sales page. If you want to look at that real quick before you buy, we'll have that for you too.
All right. So. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. This was a lot of fun. I hope it was encouraging, and have a great day.
Yep. Bye-bye.